Well, good afternoon, everyone. How you doing? Nice to have you on with us, and we appreciate here on an afternoon session. Let's see who's gonna be following us today, and so we can say hello to our lovely, lovely friends. I want to know who's number one on the hit parade as you get. It's Madeleine. How are you? From Kippawa. Brenda. Good afternoon. John. Our friend from Elgin, Illinois. Caroline. How are you? Nativity. Donna. Vancouver Island. Barbara. Kansas. Shelley from Baxter. Jocelyn. How are you? From Baxter. 2 in a row. Maureen. Newfoundland. Cheryl, West Virginia, how are you? And I think that was Fran. Jeanette from our staff. Yolande, comment ça va? Rabini, our Tony. And Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Denise, how are you? Marlene, good afternoon. Rose, Peterborough. Rita from Nouveau-Brunswick, Donna, Belle Ewart, Annette, New Brunswick, Lisa Marie, Karen from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Mariette, how are you? Kathy, Donna, how are you? Francis from Vaughan, couple of more, Wanda from Virginia, Mary, Snowy PEI. Vince, nice to have you on. Bruno, we appreciate you. Yvonne from Petawawa. Jocelyn, saying hello to Rosa. Madeleine from Saskatchewan. Wendy's here from, I just missed one. April. Brenda. Wendy from Markham. Wait a minute, I couldn't see. John. John's saying hello to somebody else. Susan. 2 more. And Pat, how are you? And Lightning. Joanne. Saskatchewan. Okay. Lynn, how are you? From Callender. Kristen. And Brenda. Okay, here we go, guys. Nice to have you guys on. Okay, let's hit a couple of headlines to this afternoon. We'll call it Headline Thursday. Okay, headlines. Popular obesity drug. This was an article on NBC News, I think, on their website. Popular obesity drugs. Problem is when you stop them. Hello? Who could have guessed? Okay? Wegovy. And what's the other one there? Popular. Oh, they run out of them. They can't supply them enough. And popular obesity drugs. And the article on NBC News is, you know what the problem is? Is when you stop, all the weight comes back. All the weight comes back. And the problem, and the other problem is, there's enormous side effects to those medications. So what are you going to do? Stay on them the rest of your life? Anywho, headline number 1. Surprise, surprise. Popular obesity drugs, big problem when you stop. Big problem is when you stop. All the weight comes back. Okay? That's in the mainstream media. Okay, this one really caught my attention. This is a study done on microplastics in the blood. Now, you and I have been talking about this for quite a while, Here, let me read the headline to you. Microplastics in arteries is associated with a 350% increase in the risk of heart attack and stroke. Now, this was a study done following 257, I don't know how they got to that number, 257 people followed for an average of 3 years. And the conclusion is, if you have microplastics in your bloodstream, your risk of heart attack and stroke is increased by, 350%. Now, my son always tells me, Dad, don't show your, don't show your credit cards. People can take a picture of it. Never thought of it. I'm a senior. I wouldn't think of anything like that. No. Okay? But here's some background. Okay? Here's some background. Now, this is just, you can copy this if you want. This is my AAA card. Okay? Our Canadian Automobile Association. We accumulate a credit card and a half, apparently, of plastic every week. Now, we've been talking a fair amount about this because it's almost astounding. It doesn't surprise me because I've been talking about it for so many years. I've been talking about the microplastics, xenoestrogens in the environment. You're not going to get away from it. They're everywhere. And every week, on average, a credit card and a half of plastics accumulate in your body. The problem with this study is they're saying when these microplastics get into the bloodstream, you're in big doo-doo. You're in trouble, especially for heart attack and stroke. Makes sense, right? Like plastics don't belong in the blood. Now, I know plastics can get in your tissue, but it certainly doesn't belong in your blood. How does it get into your blood? Okay? How does plastic get into your blood? Well, the only way it could is if you have leaky gut. Leaky gut, leaky blood. I've talked to you so many times about the presence of yeast. Yeast in the body, it's not the end of the world, guys. We all have a little bit of yeast or candida. When yeast or candida gets into the bloodstream, now that's another issue. That's a problem. And what I'm saying here is that the only way you can get microplastics in your bloodstream is if it comes in through the gut. Now, if we're accumulating a credit card and a half of plastic a day, a week, but your body is meant to get rid of that, except if you have leaky gut. Now, they're not saying this in the article, but that's how it gets into your blood. That's how it gets into your bloodstream. And then it gets carried by candida. Yeast will carry heavy metals and microplastics in your bloodstream. So what's the key? What's the takeaway for you and I? What is the takeaway? Leave the planet? No. You don't have to leave the planet. What you need to do is make sure you are on top of leaky gut. Leaky gut allows microplastics into the bloodstream. They can get in there because the border, you know how I talked about this the other day, the southern border, okay? The Canadian border and American border is sealed. Believe me, okay? It's sealed. And it's no fun trying to come across into the United States. You'd think they would be happy to see us, but they're not. Those border guards are miserable all the time. Seems to me they've taken a hate pill. That's what my mother used to say. What, have you taken your hate pill today? Or in French, we would say, "T'es comme une pilule," like you're miserable. Okay? Now, on the southern border, though, of the United States, the news talks about it just about every day, is there's, thousands and thousands of people coming in on the southern border of the United States daily. And can I tell you something? I don't blame them. I think if I lived in Honduras, I'd want to come into the United States too. But that's not the question, and I don't want to be political. Okay? All I want to do is tell you what's happening. Why would microplastics get into your bloodstream? You see, your blood should be pristine. It's the river of life. Okay? You have over 60,000 miles of blood vessels. That river should never be polluted. But what happens if you have leaky gut? And the way you get leaky gut, one of the main ways, is when you take an antibiotic for an infection. It wipes out all your microbiome, your good guys. Yeah, it kills the infection, but it kills your good guys too. People still today, here we are in 2024, and they still don't realize leaky gut. I'm telling you, if you did a survey with 100 doctors, 90 of them, they don't even know what that is. Now, it used to be 99% 20 years ago, but today I think 10% of physicians, maybe I'm being a little generous, would admit there's such a thing as leaky gut. Guys, there's nothing that's been more established than leaky gut. It's not well known, but it's well documented. I mean, if you just read, and any physician that doesn't read today about the new research on the microbiome and the gut-blood barrier, I don't know what to say to a physician that doesn't know anything about that. I mean, it's ignorance. It's straight out ignorance. And when you get leaky gut, you don't have the border, the lining, that little, submicroscopic lining between your gut and your blood. You're in trouble. You got stuff coming in that don't belong in your blood. Like I said, that river shouldn't be polluted at all. You're not going to run away from plastic. Good luck. It's here to stay. It's here to stay. We're just never going to get rid of it. Okay? So accept that. I accept that. Okay. There's plastic. Okay? It's around and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And now they're following and studying people that have microplastic. Imagine that in their arteries. And guess what? I guess it's clogging up the arteries. It's causing heart attacks and strokes. And if you have microplastic in your blood, you're 350 times more likely to have a heart attack or stroke. So what do you do? Okay? I don't want to just give you information today. I want to tell you how to fix it. How to keep plastic. You're not going to keep it out of your body necessarily, but you never want it to go into your bloodstream. What are you going to do about that? Well, here's a good thing to do. Okay? Here's a good thing to do. Probiotics. Broad spectrum probiotics. They knit that border together. They tighten it up and fix leaky gut. Okay? 2, number 1, broad spectrum probiotics. If you want to fix leaky gut, one of the way to regenerate the lining of the gut is with bone broth, especially L-glutamine. Okay? L-glutamine in bone broth is very reparative of that lining. You want to knit that lining. You want to plug the holes. Probiotics, okay? Probiotics and bone broth. You see why I like bone broth so much? Yeah. 3, don't feed the bears. Okay, don't feed the bears because everybody has yeast. And when you give them sugar, they grow. And they will carry plastic in your bloodstream. Don't feed the bears. And even sugar, which is so toxic. It feeds your bad bacteria, not your good guys, the bad guys. You don't want to feed the bad guys. Okay? Probiotics, they knit the lining, regenerate the lining, the border between your gut and your blood. 1. 2, bone broth. 3, don't feed the bears. Okay? Don't feed the bears. Don't feed yeast. Yeast will carry that plastic through your bloodstream, even up into your brain, and crossing the blood-brain barrier. Don't feed it. You know another thing that really knits the microbiome? I don't talk about it enough. Quercetin. Okay? I personally love quercetin. Okay? Because of the newest studies on it, it's always been people, Doc, why do I take quercetin? Well, one of the reasons you would take quercetin because it's a powerful natural antihistamine. You know what I mean by an antihistamine? Okay? Like Claritin. Okay? That's an antihistamine. You have allergies. You're sneezing all the time or coughing or watery eyes. And they want to give you a medication, but a natural antihistamine is quercetin. Now, you can get it in a supplement. I love that. We have that. The other thing, it knits. This is a new study out. I meant to talk about this. Anyway, I got to go find it because it's been probably about 3 weeks ago that I had that study that quercetin knits and regenerates the lining between the gut and the blood. Quercetin. I like it. Now, just another little tidbit. Okay, so what do you do? Okay, I'm going to get to this in a minute. Probiotics. Bone broth. Why? L-glutamine. Regenerates. Okay? Don't feed the bears, number 3. Don't feed that yeast. Yeast is the Trojan horse that gets into the bloodstream and carries all those toxins, including plastic. And that's not good. It's not good. Okay? And we talked about quercetin. Here's another one. Okay? I'm going to tell you how to regenerate your gut, guys. Vitamin C. Now, not ascorbic acid. Coffee. Coffee. Now, isn't coffee a gift that just keeps on giving? Isn't it? Isn't coffee a gift that just keeps on giving? Enjoy. Think of what it's doing in the body. It helps to heal the gut-blood barrier. It helps to feed your good bacteria that is on your side and keeps toxins out of your bloodstream. Who knew? Who knew? And that's why I love coffee. Well, I love coffee anyways. Someone said to me years ago, Dr. Martin, what about tea? Why would you drink tea when you could drink coffee? Okay? And I love you teetotalers. But it doesn't have the same, listen, tea's good for you, by the way. Okay? Other than the fact that it's got a fair amount of oxalates. Listen, tea's good for you. You like tea? Good for you. I feel sorry for you because coffee's better for you. Those 5 things, guys. Those 5 things. You're not leaving the planet anytime soon. At least I don't think you are. Okay? So you know you're going to be exposed to plastics and microplastics. You can't see it. It's in everything. They're in the water. They're in the soil. They're everywhere. They're forever chemicals. They're forever. They're just not going to break down. So if you know that, okay, it's the way it is. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. We're going to live with that. And what do we do about it? Okay? So those 5 things are really, really important for that. Okay? Got the memo? Because if not, and you know, we like this stuff getting into the bloodstream, my friend, is no fun at all. Okay? No fun at all. Now. Okay. Let's see. Do I have a time to do a couple of more? Okay, let's just do one more. The rate of antidepressants amongst 12 to 25-year-olds, okay, has increased 66% over the last 6 years. The rate of the administration of antidepressants, the prescription of antidepressants has gone up 66% over the last 6 years of the ages of young people between 12 and 25. I tell you, my friend, that is astounding. You know, they've come out with, what was it, the summer of 2022, and this just sort of, it should have turned mental health on its head when they said that antidepressants, the SSRIs, were extremely overrated. And the benefits were almost zero compared to placebo. And yet, here we are today, 66% increase over the last 6 years of antidepressant use, especially amongst young people. Sad. I can tell you, and I said this on my radio show 25 years ago. Okay? I was around when antidepressants, the SSRIs, came out. I was there. I was in practice. And you know what I can tell you when they came out? And, in those days, it was big news. And I was very skeptical. But anyways, I read everything I could on these new medications that were coming out. Prozac. And the warning on the label, even then, when they first came out, was this is temporary use, never to be used past 6 months. Well, guess what, folks? Big Pharma, they never warned doctors about that, even though it was the FDA and Health Canada gave them the okay, but warning, 6 months use. It was to bring you through a terrible state of depression, and then you were to stop them. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. I remember interviewing doctors on my radio show and saying, well, why don't they stop? Very addictive. And they weren't heeding the warnings. I couldn't blame the patients. I would only question the doctors. You read the memo. And now young people are taking this stuff like candy. Listen, we live in a crazy world, by the way. Seems to me getting crazier by the moment. And I feel sorry for young people. But, I mean, to say that antidepressants are the solution, we talked about this in 2022, summer of 2022. Nah, they really are not. They were highly overrated. But millions and millions and millions of young people are taking these medications on a daily basis. I just feel sorry for them. They're not getting the help that they need to get off this stuff. And I could talk to you for a whole program about the side effects of these things. And I'm not ever telling a patient to stop taking these things. Okay? I don't. But I always want people to question their physician. Question your physician. Anywho, okay, guys, tomorrow, question and answer Friday. We love question and answer Friday. As a matter of fact, we loved it so much that we had question and answer Monday and Tuesday this week. Well, it's because we didn't have question and answer Friday last week. Okay. But it's on tomorrow. Okay? On tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Guys, we love you dearly. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for the reviews. If you want to leave us a 5-star review when you're listening to the Doctor Is In podcast, we'd appreciate it. It helps. Okay? And we thank you, our audience, smartest, most loyal, fabulous audience that we have at the Martin Clinic. And if you're not a member of the private Facebook group, I'm asking you why you're not. Okay? We want you to join. Okay, we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.